Attack wins you games and defense wins you titles, right? Well, what if we told you that this saying isn't necessarily true? We often hear these words when discussing a team's style of play, but if you think about it, how can you win titles if you don't outscore your opponents? Well, besides winning all your games after penalty kicks, of course. But obviously you can't rely on that in a league system, so both defense and attack must go hand in hand for a team to compete for major trophies. We've previously discussed how Arne Slot might address Liverpool's defensive issues based on his time at Feyenoord. But what about the attack? We've all heard about how his teams play with a blend of entertaining, aggressive, yet patient and controlled football. So what does that actually mean, and how will it translate to the current Liverpool squad? From his build-up patterns to how a flipping system might get the best out of some players, that's what we're going to delve into today as we explain Arne Slot's plan for Liverpool's attack. But before we do get into it, as always, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Liverpool content. So before we dive into the details, let's see Liverpool's potential lineup under Slot and how it will change when in possession of the ball. During his time at Feyenoord, Slot frequently favoured a 4-2-3-1 formation compared to a 4-3-3. However, during his first press conference, the Dutchman has already confirmed that he will maintain Klopp's base formation and continue to use the 4-3-3. Of course, the base formation you're seeing on the screen is based on the current available players in the squad, not taking potential signings or outgoings into consideration. Now, every attack starts from the build-up phase, where the team tries to progress the ball through the thirds. This initially begins with the short goal kicks. When it comes to Slot and his time in the Eredivisie, Feyenoord built from goal kicks in different ways depending on the opponents and whether they were pressing his side or not. When Kucu was at the team, Feyenoord often baited the press with the Turkish player dropping deep to combine with his teammates, using his technical ability to evade pressure. But for our video, we're going to focus on last season, where despite the different build-up methods used by Arne, there was always been a recurring theme. From goal kicks, Feyenoord utilised what is called staggered lines, with a flat back four and the goalkeeper being involved. Slot deployed his double pivot players ahead of each other. Let's suppose that Endo and McAllister will form the double pivot, as you can see on the screen. The two players do not occupy the same line, but instead stay ahead of each other. Now, one might wonder, isn't it unusual for the double pivot players to not occupy the same line? Wouldn't that put too much pressure on the deeper player, as opponents can focus on him while the other pivot is higher? Well, here's the trick. This staggered line approach allows the team to use bounce passes. Think of passing the ball to a wall to play a 1-2, just like we used to do when we were young and playing in our homes or in the alleys. It's kind of the same principle, but let us show you how it would work on the pitch. Here, McAllister would be the highest of the double pivot, and once the goal kick is played, he can drop deeper into space as his pivot partner has already attracted the marking from opposition. With the ball played to the dropping McAllister, he can instantly switch the play in either direction towards the fullbacks, or even recycle the ball to one of his centre-backs, all with a single pass. This would often allow the team to bypass the initial line of the opponent's press. Another key aspect of this staggered line approach is that when the back line manages to play out from the back without involving the highest pivot, the player will find himself closer to the opponent's half, allowing him to attack the spaces quicker. Now hold this thought for a second, because we're going to touch upon it later on. Alongside the use of staggered lines and flat back four, Arne Slot often used an inverted fullback, typically Gertrude, with the goalkeeper stepping forward between the centre-backs to act as a situational defender. Feyenoord could build up with a first line of 4 players and 3 in the midfield, with Gertrude inverting, but let's show you how that would look for Liverpool. Here you can see both Konate and Van Dijk split to allow Alisson to step forward. Meanwhile, Trent Alexander-Arnold inverts into midfield, which can force an opponent's player to leave his area and mark him. Simultaneously, Liverpool's spare man in midfield, McAllister, can drift into the created space to receive the ball. So there are 2 ways we can expect Liverpool to initiate their attacks next season. As you can see, this patient build-up approach contrasts with Klopp's direct base style, and this will be a key change in Liverpool's style of play. Slot is considered a control freak, but isn't the same boring control of passing the ball back and recycling possession for the majority of the game. This control is more related to the build-up phase, where players don't seek to find that killer pass right from the start. Instead, they work the ball around, trying to find an opportunity to exploit. This approach will also limit the team's vulnerability to transitions and give the players moments to breathe during the game. If you want to learn more about how a control will impact the defensive side of things, make sure to watch the video we've already posted on this topic. This video is sponsored by Clothing. Clothing is a Liverpool clothing site owned by match-going fans. Each design is limited edition and is perfect to wear on a match day, on the terraces at Anfield, down your local, or cozy in the comfort of your own home. As stated, each design is limited edition, and if a product is showing out of stock, they will not be restocking the item, so if you have your eye on something, grab it fast. Lastly, Copyright Clothing wants fellow Reds to be 100% satisfied with their orders, so if there is a reason you're not happy, they will refund you with no questions asked. Head over to copyrightclothing.com or down into the link in the description to get all of your Liverpool merchandise. Anyway, let's get back into today's video. Going back to the build-up and the attacking phase, to implement this style, Slot needs players who are secure on the ball under pressure, aware of their surroundings, and have excellent ball progression ability, whether through carrying or passing. Do the current players match these criteria? Well, we'll leave this question for you to answer, so let us know in the comment section below. Now, what happens when the team manages to build out from the first phase and bypass the pressure? Or what if the opponent does not press at all? That's what we're going to explain right now. During the high build-up phase, Slot's Feyenoord shifts into a 2-3-5 shape. This happens in two ways. The first is, as you can see on the screen, with two of the fullbacks staying narrow in midfield, while one of the pivots pushes higher to join the last line. This helps create triangles on either side of the pitch between the fullbacks, the pivots, and the wingers, aiding the team in combining and creating opportunities. The second way is with the two pivots staying in the middle third, while the right back inverts close to them. At the same time, the left back pushes high and wide to maintain the width, with the left winger tucking inside. See, whether during the deep or high build-up phases, Slot always likes to attack with at least 4 players. Every single one of the players occupies his designated position with little to no rotations, which is why Slot is said to have a strict positional play. However, by allowing the fullback and one of the pivots to push high when needed to form a 5-man front line, Slot's side gains numerical superiority all over the pitch, which is crucial to the way he likes to play, so again, let us explain. When Feyenoord progress the ball through the first phase, they often look to go direct towards the wingers. This can result in two scenarios. The winger gains control of the ball and is 1v1 situation with his marker, or the opponents win the aerial duel. In either case, having more players high up can be crucial, and here's why. For our first scenario, say that Diaz controls the ball on the left-hand side, he can find Szoboszlai, who will hopefully play as a number 10, with a license to drift to the left. The Colombian can also find support from Robertson, who can play Hartman's role of holding the width on the left-hand side. Diaz can then use his dribbling and carrying ability to get past his marker, or combine with his teammates, leveraging their numerical superiority. Our second scenario is that the opponents manage to intercept the ball before it reaches Diaz. In that case, remember when we mentioned the second benefit of the staggered lines earlier, where the higher pivot finds himself closer to the opponent's half. That allows the team to once again create numerical superiority, which results in a better counter-pressing structure as the spaces get closed down quickly. This also gives the players more chance to win the second ball, transforming that moment from potential defense into a quick and swift attack once again. And this, guys, is one of the reasons why, since taking over at Feyenoord, the team ranks top for high turnovers, shot-ending high turnovers, goal-ending high turnovers, and ball recoveries in the final third. Now that we've given you a clear picture of how Slot initiates his attack and progresses through the thirds, let's explore how some of the players can benefit from this system. First, we have Alexis Mac Allister. Sure, the World Cup winner had a brilliant first season at Anfield, but it didn't come without its struggles, did it? This was most notable during the times he had to play as the lone and deeper pivot. This affected Mac Allister's performances as he struggled to act as the build-up initiator and often got caught by the press. Now, playing in Slot's double pivot system as the highest of the two, Mac Allister can truly shine. Here, Mac Allister will no longer be tasked with being the main man for build-up progression. Instead, he can bomb forward into the right half space to act as a right-sided number 8, just the way Klopp was planning to use him. From there, Mac Allister's tenacity can be used in the counter-press, and his creativity in the final third will be crucial in setting up the likes of Darwin and Salah with quality chances. Another player that we will most likely see shine next season is Dominik Szoboszlai. Yes, the 4-3-3 is here to stay, but the system might be flipped. With Mac Allister occupying the right-hand side, Szoboszlai can be moved to the left, where he shined the most during his time at RB Leipzig. The Hungarian can still drop deep to help with the build-up phase, but it's his creativity and tenacity in the final third that will truly explode, especially if he's allowed to drift further down the left-hand side. From there, Szoboszlai can drive the ball with force, cutting in on his dominant foot to unleash those monstrous shots he's known for. But that's not all. With Diaz and Darwin playing relatively close to him, Szoboszlai's creativity will be put to use as he combines with his teammates and slips the forwards in with accurate through balls. Of course, both Szoboszlai and Mac Allister will also need the presence of fast, direct, and technically secure wingers, something that Diaz and and Salah obviously possess. These two players will be tasked with holding the width and stretching the opponent's back line to create the space that McAllister and Szoboszlai can attack. Once they get the ball, they can use their creativity to slip into the bombing midfielders or cross the ball to Darwin, who will be more central. Yes, speaking of Darwin, it's true that the Uruguayan thrives in transitional situations, and that's why we believe he will improve next season. See, as we explained, Slot likes to be patient during the build-up phase, but as the ball progresses through the pitch, the team starts to look for more direct balls. In these moments, Darwin's runs in behind can be utilised. He can be targeted by Trent from the middle of the pitch, or slip through when one of the wingers are advancing or the 8 gets the ball. Guys, don't get us wrong, we're not saying this is exactly what Arne Slot is going to do next season. After all, we don't have a magic ball that allows us to see in the future. However, the facts we brought you here are based on this latest season at Feyenoord, and that's why these are the most probable changes we will see in Liverpool's attack. So what do you guys think? Will a more patient build-up with an emphasis on switching the play to wingers be key for Liverpool to dominate their games next season? Do you agree with Slot's positional discipline, or do you want to see more rotations like Klopp's side used to do? Also, do you believe the current squad has what it takes to play the way Slot wants to? Let us know your thoughts down there in the comment section below, and as always, that does bring us to the end of today's deep dive. Please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Take care.